2008, Zimbabwe. A loaf of bread costs $30 billion. Prices are doubling in a matter of days. It is one of the worst hyperinflations in human history. And to keep it going, to keep printing money that's worthless before the ink dries, the government needs one thing it cannot make itself: the special paper that banknotes are printed on. So, according to reporting at the time, tons of blank banknote paper were being airlifted into the capital from a quiet, family-owned company in Munich. A company almost no one outside the industry has ever heard of. A company that, a century earlier, had done the exact same thing for another government, drowning in another hyperinflation. This is the story of Giesecke+Devrient, the most powerful printer of money you've never heard of, and the uncomfortable history it carries. Founded in Leipzig in 1852, Giesecke+Devrient, G and D for short, grew into something strange, one of the most important companies in the world that the world never sees. Remember the players from our first episode? De La Rue had its scandals and nearly collapsed. G&D did the opposite. It stayed private, stayed family-controlled, stayed quiet, and quietly became a titan. In a recent year, it reported over €3 billion in sales. It has printed banknotes or supplied security paper for dozens of nations across every continent. But here's what makes G&D genuinely different and genuinely powerful. It didn't stop at cash. That chip in your credit card, that secure SIM in your phone, the data page of your passport. G&D is one of the giants behind those technologies too. It moved from printing the money in your pocket to sitting inside almost everything you use to prove who you are. Which means when this company makes a decision about who to do business with, the stakes are not small. And its history of those decisions is exactly where the story turns dark. To understand 2008, you have to go back to the 1920s. Germany, after the First World War, is crushed by debt and reparations. The Weimar government does the most dangerous thing a government can do with money. It simply prints more of it, and more, and more. The result is the textbook hyperinflation, the one in every economics course. Money carted in wheelbarrows, banknotes cheaper than the firewood they could replace, prices doubling in days. The state's own printing office literally cannot keep up with demand for paper money. So it turns to private printers to help churn out the currency. And among the companies that stepped in was Giesecke+Devrient. By its own historical accounts, the firm helped print banknotes during the very inflation that wiped out the German middle class. Now, to be fair and precise, G&D didn't cause Weimar's inflation any more than a paper mill causes a newspaper's lies. The government printed too much money, the printer supplied the means. But that distinction, we print, we don't decide, is one this company would lean on again, 80 years later, on another continent, in another catastrophe. Fast forward to the 2000s. Zimbabwe, under Robert Mugabe, is destroying its own currency the same way Weimar did, printing money to cover debts it cannot pay, and it needs a constant supply of secure banknote paper to do it. G&D, which had done business in the region for decades, was among its suppliers. As the crisis deepened, this became explosive. According to reporting by the Wall Street Journal and others, G&D was airlifting tons of banknote paper into Harare, even as inflation raced toward numbers with no real meaning. By late 2008, an official rate in the tens of billions of percent. Producing notes for a hyperinflating country is coldly good business. They need new bills constantly. But the criticism was brutal. The company was accused of helping keep Mugabe's ruined economy on life support, profiting while ordinary Zimbabweans were pushed into destitution. What finally moved G&D wasn't conscience, at least not first. It was pressure. Germany's own foreign minister personally telephoned the company's chief executive to demand it stop. A German government minister called the dealings, quote, terrible. The European Union and United Nations were weighing sanctions. Only then, on the 1st of July 2008, did G&D announce it would halt deliveries, citing, in its own words, the political tension and the critical evaluation of the international community. Notably, US officials said they would not take action against the firm. It printed until the pressure became unbearable, and not one day before. Step back, and a pattern emerges that is genuinely uncomfortable. The same company, across 80 years and 2 continents, supplied the means to print money for 2 of the most catastrophic currency collapses in modern history, Weimar and Zimbabwe. Is that a fair charge or hindsight? Here's the honest answer. G&D didn't set either country's monetary policy. It's a supplier, operating legally, selling a product that most of the time keeps economies running. Every one of the companies in this series would tell you, we don't choose how our customers govern. But there's a reason that defense only goes so far. Because this isn't a company that makes screws or shipping pallets. It makes the one product whose entire value depends on trust, and whose overproduction can erase the savings of an entire nation. When your product is money itself, neutrality is a choice too. G&D has faced other criticism over the years, including decades ago reported accusations over the pricing of banknote materials, and more recently concerns raised about its push to design digital currencies for developing nations. The company has continued to operate, expand, and reinvent itself. But the Zimbabwe episode remains the clearest window into the moral grey zone at the centre of this entire industry. Right, so what do we make of Giesecke+Devrient? Not a villain in a cartoon, a mirror. It shows us the bargain at the heart of the whole hidden industry we've been exploring. These companies hold extraordinary power, the power to make money real. And they largely operate by one rule. The customer is a sovereign state, and it's not our job to judge it. Most of the time that rule is invisible and harmless. But money is not a neutral product. Printed wisely, it's the bloodstream of a functioning society. Printed recklessly, with a foreign firm's paper feeding the presses, it becomes the instrument that wipes a nation's savings to zero. Twice G&D's paper was there when that happened. Across 6 episodes, one truth keeps returning. Money is trust made physical. The printers, the counterfeiters, the governments trying to go digital, all of them are really fighting over the same fragile thing. Who controls it? Who profits from it? And who pays when it fails? Next time on Hard Currency, we follow the money into the shadows, to the secret war between the counterfeiters and the central banks, and the invisible features hidden in the note in your wallet right now that you have never once noticed. The technology of trust. Subscribe. You'll never look at a banknote the same way again.